Hey rockers, welcome back to the channel, man. Happy Thursday night. I think it's Thursday. Time is flying by, man. It's hard for me to keep track of time, to be quite honest. Tonight, I'm going to do one of those curveball stories that I'm always talking about. You know, rock, punk, metal, and of course, curveball stories. Tonight, we're going to talk about the great Tommy Chong. How many people are not Cheech Chong fans? I dare you to raise your hand. I'm just kidding. It's not for everyone. And I understand that their particular style of humor might not be for everyone. But when I was a little kid back in the 70s, around 1975, 1976, age 9, 10, I was really into Cheech Chong because it was forbidden fruit. It was adult humor. They were different, and my father hated them. I actually acquired a copy of the Big Bamboo album when I was a kid because my mother cleaned apartment complexes, the one we lived in, for a living, a partial living, that, you know, she did that on the side, and she would often come home with stacks of vinyl records that people would leave in these apartments. And man, I got turned on to great stuff as a kid, man. Sly and the Family Stone, Cheech Chong, just really great records. Well, my dad one day realized I was listening to stoner comedy with Cheech Chong, and he forbid me to listen to those records. And that particular day, he was being kind of a jerk to my mom. And as soon as he walked out the door to go to work, my mother gave me those records and said, "Here you go, son." 9 years old, and my mom's like, go listen to your Cheech Chong records. She even said to me, "It's just humor, and there's nothing I'm protecting you against that you're not going to find out about." So cheers to my mom, Miss Anti-Censorship. She was badass, man. And growing up and just being around the Cheech Chong culture, like the movies, Nice Dreams, Up in Smoke, classic stuff, man. I'm a big comedy fan because I come from the hometown of Richard Pryor, Peoria, Illinois. Sam Kinison, of course, was there too. So I grew up liking guys like those guys and Lenny Bruce and all these people that would say stuff you're not supposed to say. But hey, man, long live the memory of the great Richard Pryor and Sam Kinison. Tommy Chong, Cheech Chong started out as a Canadian comedy duo. But before that, before their success in the 70s and 80s, Tommy Chong was in rock and roll, man. He was a guitar player. He had a band called The Shades, a band called The Vancouvers, and they had moderate success for sure. I made a few notes here. Some of the other albums that I liked by Tommy Chong: The Wedding Album, Cheech Chong, of course, Los Cachinos, Sleeping Beauty. And, you know, I never thought the day would come where I'd get to actually meet one of my heroes, Tommy Chong. I mean, the guy went to prison for bongs. What a hero, man. What a legend. And he survived. The night that I got to see and meet Tommy Chong was very special. It was the year 2008. The month was February, Peoria, Illinois. It was cold, it was winter, but I couldn't wait to go to the Jukebox Comedy Club because I'd always wanted to meet Tommy Chong. It was a double delight because his wife, Shelby, was the opening act, and I thought, she's probably going to just be, you know, an inexpensive opening act and probably not even funny. Boy, was I wrong. Shelby Chong was great. Her chops were good, her timing was excellent, and she was damn funny. Turns out she's produced like 4 Cheech Chong movies. She's an actress, a comedian. So, hey, here's to you, Shelby Chong. She was hilarious, man. When it came time for her to introduce her husband, the audience was packed. They were very lively. People were having a great time, really excited to see Tommy Chong in the flesh. And when she introduced her husband, she said, "It's time for me to introduce the Maharishi of marijuana and the king of dope, Tommy Chong." It was hilarious. Everyone went nuts, gave Tommy a great reception. Shout out to Dan, of course, Conlon, the owner, proprietor of the Jukebox Comedy Club, who was a former morning show host on WWCT Radio, the station that I was broadcasting from when I met Tommy Chong, doing my Church of Rock radio show, which continues today. I got to tell you, man, when he came out on stage, everyone was rowdy, drinking, in a good mood, probably stoned out of their minds. I don't know. But some of the stuff he said on stage was awesome. Afterwards, I got to meet him, and I'll tell you what happened, because my big plan was to give my hero some herbs. Yeah, the weed. Let you know what happens in a minute. So one of the things he said was, as soon as his wife walked off stage after introducing him, he said, "That's my love, right? And if it wasn't for that woman, I wouldn't be here tonight." Seriously, I'd be in some titty bar getting a lap dance. And the whole place erupted, man. Just funny, total typical Tommy Chong humor. Great stuff, man. And he's still married to Shelby to this day, by the way. He also was talking about then President George Bush being a cokehead, made a whole skit out of that. He talked about getting his cat high and watching the cat jump off or walk straight off the table and not landing on his feet. Somehow that was funny to everybody. He was talking about when he was in jail, in prison, whatever, for his bong stuff. And he said, man, it's a bummer there. People are always looking up your ass. Just funny stuff, man. He was talking about driving down the road and being so ripped on the herbs that he realized, I forgot my wife. And then he went back to get her and drove back by his car or by his house several times. Just funny stuff, man. Genuinely funny. You could tell he didn't even have to try hard. Tommy Chong is a seasoned pro. I love Cheech Chong, and I love Tommy Chong, and Cheech Marin too, man. There's sound effects going on during his stand-up set. Stand-up comedy by Tommy Chong. When he's talking about driving down a road, you'll hear like car crash effects. Really cool. Three-dimensional way to do comedy. I love Tommy Chong. Didn't I already say that? Maybe twice. I can't say enough good stuff about Tommy. It was very fun. The place was packed. My plan was to let the place get out there and meet the star of the show, because afterwards he came out for like a little meet and greet. He didn't really sit at a table or anything like that. He just kind of stood around being accessible, taking photos with fans. And I think he was charging like, it was either $10 or $20 to get a Polaroid photo with Tommy Chong and his wife. Well worth the money, and then he would autograph the photo for you. I do have one of those somewhere. I'm trying to dig it up so I can share it on the community section of this channel, where I share photos just about every day. So check the community section for some good photos, my friends. Well, the moment was quickly arriving. Tommy Chong and Shelby are at the entrance to the Jukebox Comedy Club on Farmington Road in Peoria, Illinois. Everyone's almost out of the place. I'm like, here's my chance. I got a bag for my legend. I'm going to hook him up with some good stuff. When I finally got up there, I said, hey, man, can I buy a photo from you guys? He said, sure, thanks, man. And we talked for a while, told him I was in radio. He was genuinely engaging and like listening to me, not just trying to get my money. He was cool. He liked his fans. He was a great dude. Seems like it. Well, when I finally got through the photo part and the fan part, I said, hey, Tommy, I brought you a little gift, man. And he stopped me dead in my tracks. He said, man, bro, let me tell you something. I've been doing this a long time, and I learned long ago never to accept weed from strangers, because, man, I've had all kinds of weird stuff put in my weed. People can be evil, and it might be something to hurt you. People have a sense of humor and think it's funny to lace it with different drugs, things like that. And I said, wow, I never thought about that, because I'd always just been like a punk rock singer in clubs. I always accepted anything from anybody. But Tommy Chong was right. If you're a celebrity of that stature, you probably don't want to be taking random doobies and bags of smoke from people, because who knows in this crazy world what in the hell might happen, right? And then he'd be doing a whole different stand-up act, or maybe even a sit-down act at that point. My friends, it was great. I walked out of there happy. I had my little Polaroid picture autographed by Tommy Chong, and I still had a pocket full of bud. So it was nice to meet the guy. He wouldn't accept my gift, and I totally understand, man. I'm just taking it easy. Thanks for being here at Bloody F Mess Official. It's an honor to bring entertainment and maybe some laughs to you guys. And every one of you that subscribes, I appreciate it. Please take a moment and subscribe to my channel and help an old rocker out. And maybe give it a like down below and leave a comment. And if you want, you can hit the notifications button. That way, whenever I release a video, you'll be notified. In the name of Cheech and Chong, I bid you fond farewell and have a great evening, my friends. Thank you for being here at Bloody F Mess Official, where rock and roll is not just a tattoo on my arm. Cheers.